The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Hello, I'm Carol Kido Jr.
And I'm Jasmine Nehru. Join me for sports news later in the bulletin.
In this edition, bridging the gender gap in the digital space, taxi operators protest gruesome killing, and Panthers and Rabbitohs renew rivalry. Bringing attention to issues such as gender equality, reproductive rights, and violence and abuse against women, the International Women's Day on March 8 is celebrated globally annually since the United Nations General Assembly invited member states to proclaim March 8 as an official UN holiday for women's rights and world peace. Today, the Papua New Guinea Australian Policing Partnership hosted a breakfast celebrating women in the space of law and order in PNG.
The International Women's Day theme for 2023 is Digital, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. The theme highlights the role of innovative technology in promoting gender equality and meeting the health and development needs of women and girls. This morning, the Papua New Guinea Australian Policing Partnership hosted a breakfast celebrating women in the space of law and order in PNG. PNG APP Acting Commander Superintendent Brett Kidner, in his remarks, said a gender-responsive approach to innovation, technology and digital education can increase the capacity of women and girls so they can contribute to the advancements in digital technology, progressing achievements to developmental and humanitarian challenges.
Our lives are increasingly dependent on technological integration, from attending a course, from contacting your families, from making a bank transaction, or booking a medical appointment. If women and girls are unable to develop this technological understanding and capability, they may be further disadvantaged when competing for careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematical-related fields.
The IWD event welcomed two intelligent and bold women to speak. One, Wendy Tembego, investigative assistant to the AFP of the Australian High Commission, and the other, Helen Rualakona, deputy public prosecutor from the OPP. Wendy Tembego highlighted the significant changes brought about by technology in the PNG society.
Women across PNG are not stalled by these barriers. They are now creating their own opportunities by becoming entrepreneurs and business owners, and are utilizing the access they have to the internet and social media platforms.
Helen Rualakona, a trailblazing lawyer with the Office of the Public Prosecutor and the first female appointed to top management in the Office of the Deputy Public Prosecutor, encouraged women to use their strengths and to challenge themselves.
And that's the challenge that we women face, especially here in Papua New Guinea, where we undermine ourselves. We don't think that we can actually step out and step up. And so when we look at this year's theme about embracing equity, it's something that I found in my role, where achieving that equity.
Today's events must translate into the daily lives of those that celebrate International Women's Day. It is important that we as a society push for lasting outcomes for digital innovation and technology for gender equality. Mary Silla Kelleton, TV1 News.
Furthermore, Superintendent Brett Kidner emphasized the importance of having gender diversity in the police forces.
The diversity is a primary driver within policing at the moment. And so today on International Women's Day, we represent the gender diversity within our police forces. That our investigations, that while we are doing these, to the betterment of the community, needs a focus that's balanced. And so women within our police forces, other diversity factors within our police force bring that balance to what we do in our investigations, which tries to make our communities better.
Today marks World International Women's Day and reminds of the increase of women joining building and construction trades and industry traditionally dominated by men. Two young women, Liz April Fisser and Sharon Katari from Digara Construction Limited, are part of this new generation of women in the building and construction industry. Both young women are part of the company's current project, the construction of a new 40-bed female dormitory at the University of Papua New Guinea's School of Medicine and Health Sciences, funded by a Papua New Guinea-Australia Partnership Incentive Fund. Companies in the building and construction industry are keen to support and encourage their female workers and provide an avenue for Papua New Guinean women to apply their trade skills. Both women welcome the opportunity to work with Digara on the dormitory project, which benefits women and girls. The new dormitory project will strengthen health workforce in PNG by providing high-quality accommodation and increasing access to quality local education opportunities for female students in PNG. International Women's Day is celebrated annually on 8th March in Papua New Guinea. It offers an opportunity for all of us to reflect on the progress made improving women's rights and empowerment.
This year, the theme for International Women's Day is Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. United Nations Resident Coordinator in Papua New Guinea, Richard Howard, said the theme encourages us to recognize the women and girls who are championing the advancement of transformative technology and digital education. As with every International Women's Day, we are also encouraged to support women and girls in every part of their lives, in their work, their communities, and their family lives. In Papua New Guinea, there is more work to be done to ensure that women and girls can enjoy the fundamental human rights. Howard said the UN's Common Country Analysis 2022 for PNG found that inclusive and equal participation of women in the political and economic arenas continues to be an elusive goal. We also know that gender-based violence affects huge numbers of women and girls throughout the country and that sorcery accusation-related violence killings continue. In addition to this, women and girls are increasingly vulnerable to trafficking as a result of displacement and forced migration. He said on this International Women's Day, we must all reflect on how to address these issues as we go forward. If women cannot be safe, if women cannot have secure and dignified jobs, if women cannot have their voices heard in decision-making bodies at all levels, then how can they meaningfully drive their own development and that of the country? The UN Resident Coordinator in PNG encourages all Papua New Guinean men and women to come together with development partners such as the United Nations team, which he leads, to commit to taking action now by supporting the government in serving the women and girls in Papua New Guinea. Frida Kana, TVWAN News.
16 women graduated today from the Business Coalition for Women's 8th Certificate for Leadership and Management course. Hosted at the Lay Yacht Club, the combined graduation coincided with International Women's Day celebrations.
16 professional women have successfully completed the Business Coalition for Women's 6-month course in Certificate for Leadership and Management. The women are from Digicel PNG, TEPNG Black Swan International and Australia Awards sponsored women from the Works Department, Morbe Provincial Health Authority, the National Agriculture and Quarantine Inspection Authority and the Papua New Guinea University of Technology. 14 of them celebrated their achievement with their colleagues at the Lay Yacht Club while 2 graduated in absence. Caroline Yalen, who is attached with Nakia, thanked Australian Awards for the opportunity to learn new skills and values and her agency for the support.
Normally my colleagues from the state corporate section, the office ladies, they are the workshop training. For scientists, I'm the first one, so I'm proud of that. personally and professionally, I've come this far. I was really shy. After this, I've come out of my shell. I've become confident. I can accept feedback without getting crossed through. My communication has improved, teamwork. Like normally we go out to the field and do work, so I've become a major team player or something like that. I've developed that. And I've improved, built this networking group. Every time I'll call the digital ladies, I need help with this, or the wax ladies. So I've built that communication networking. That's after the workshop, the 6 months I've gone through. I'm thankful, grateful for the opportunity to learn it.
Digicel's General Manager for Kokopo, Manus and TVWAN, Belinda Kanau, encouraged her cohorts to appreciate themselves. Kanau shared that self-reflection and appreciation were the main values she took away from the training, adding the course had added great value to them professionally, encouraging them to be better versions of themselves. Other principles that she learned include educating both women and men about developing their growth mindset, creating sustainable networks to support the development of team members, and rather than focusing on why a woman is not able to become a leader, we should focus on what the leadership role's expected outcome should be and celebrate that. Mary Silla-Kelleton, TV1 News.
International Women's Day serves to recognize the contributions of women as well as their potential. Business Coalition for Women Executive Director Yvonne Kennedy made this statement in commemoration of International Women's Day.
The theme for International Women's Day 2023 campaign is Embrace Equity. The IWD 2023 Embrace Equity campaign theme seeks to get the world talking about why equal opportunities are no longer enough and can in fact be exclusionary rather than inclusive. For Business Coalition for Women Executive Director Yvonne Kennedy, International Women's Day is an important date set aside to recognize the important roles women play in society and the potential they have.
I think that there are women in leadership roles, but there could be more. We need more women in decision-making roles. We need more women in not only senior executive positions, we need them in boards, decision-making roles. We need them in schools. We need them in our communities. And as John Byrne was talking earlier around the contribution of women and men also, because I think that without women's voices, we're missing out on our full potential as a country.
Stephanie Yoko, who graduated today with a certificate for leadership and management course, believes a change in mindset is the way forward for PNG. Yoko, who is an administrative officer with Black Swan International in Ley, pointed to the big man system, where traditionally authority is obtained by men as they are perceived to be more capable in making decisions for the community, while women are expected to conform to rules and norms in society.
It's 2023 now, so times have changed, so we're advancing technology, so to change that mindset now. Women should be given an equal opportunity and women should rise up.
This year's theme of Embrace Equity differentiates between equality and equity, where the latter recognizes that each person has different circumstances and allocates the exact resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. Mary Silla-Kelleton, TV1 News.
Paradise College in Port Moresby decided to celebrate the International Women's Day by inviting prominent women to their school to share their experiences in the corporate world in an effort to inspire young students to embrace gender equality, especially in political and economic leadership.
Principal of Paradise College, Safak Delishmal, said the school decided to observe the International Women's Day because they believe that women have to play a greater role in society. Part of the celebration of women was to have a few women of integrity and leaders in their own rights share their experiences with the youngsters in order that they embrace gender equality.
I think this is one of the ways that we can create an awareness among our students, since they are teenagers growing adult in the future, and they need to have some basic idea about happenings, what women face problem in the society, in the real life, in the working place. So we thought that celebrating Women's Day will create this value, and we want our students to see and meet with successful women leaders in the society. So this program created that value that students have seen one of their own who made it to top positions on the field.
The 4 women guests were Melissa Fiery, Media and Event Supervisor at ExxonMobil PNG, Nelly Hamura Oa, Coordinator Political Leadership Academy for Women, Fiona Nelson, General Manager Investments and Chief Investment Officer at NASFund, Serafina Aupong, Communication Consultant at UN Women, and Natasha Tamanabai, Managing Director of Elite Fashion Club.
As women, we need inspiration. We need some form of a light, but many of our leaders in the past who inspired us has made us become innovative and become more motivated in doing what we want to do in our field and where we are right now. It's just having the right time and circumstances to reach out and become where we are. So
Tamanabai was proud to say she was treated equal among her brothers, being an only daughter to her parents. After acquiring a Bachelor of Arts degree, she is now an established fashion designer recognized locally and internationally. Paradise College believes in developing leaders on an equal playing field, and thus happens to be the first college to engage with the Believe Institute in Melbourne to directly develop leadership in selected students in grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. Frida Kana, TVWAN News.
This is TVWAN News. Among stories after the break, taxi drivers protest over slain colleague, and Pogera clan agents take leadership and governance training.
With BSP Internet Banking, you can enjoy your banking at home, at work, or wherever you are. BSP Personal Internet Banking allows you to view your accounts and transactions, transfer money, bill pay, schedule future payments, or access your bank statements. Visit your nearest BSP branch to register now. BSP Internet Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSP, our bank, our people.
It's that time again! Scale Rise is giving you the chance to win some Scale School money for 2023. Over 220 winners. 4 fortnightly draws, that's 55 fortnightly winners. Cash prizes starting at 1,000 kina, 2,000 kina, 3,000 kina. They also have consolation prizes of 500 kina. Buy any Scale Rise or Ori Rise to enter the promotion for your chance to win the Scale School money. Terms and conditions apply. Scale Rise,
the brain changer.
Open Nets.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager. Bongum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
It's on again. It's back to school with Colgate and Protex. 100,000 kina worth of prizes to be won. Win laptops, tablets, and 250 kina shopping vouchers. Simply purchase 2 or more Colgate and Protex branded products, write your name and contact details at the back of the receipt, drop it in the entry bin in participating stores for a chance to win. Promotion begins 1st February and ends 31st March 2022. Hurry! Go to your nearest participating store and purchase Colgate and Protex products to win. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Taxi drivers in the nation's capital protested the killings of drivers of PNG buses and taxi drivers today. They convoyed in different locations to express disbelief and sorrow at these senseless killings, including the most recent one along Boira Papa Lele Highway.
The murder and discarding of the body of a taxi driver along the Boira Papa Lele Highway frustrated fellow public transport colleagues to converge in various parts of Port Moresby today in protest against this senseless killing and that of similar past incidents. The convoys were also a show of sorrow for the slain taxi driver, identified as One Piece Kondoa from Mount Hagen, Western Highlands Province. Taxi driver Benji Londe was part of this morning's convoy. He said his colleagues' brutal killing has left many of them in disbelief.
Mibla lifesaver blow money. City you all money no buy car na drive around. Mibla taxi drivers taxi more one man go long way road, close to road, good road no good mibla sa go inside. Na driving more. Think him life blow na mibla driving more but all time back killing one lab blow mibla so mibla protest lo city ra.
Taxi drivers are also curious whether their colleague was killed during a robbery or that it may have been intentional. The protests of the public transport providers resulted in passengers being forced to disembark mid-travel so that PNG drivers could join the convoy. The body of late Kondoa was brought to the 3-mile mortuary by the St. John ambulance. Jasmine Nero, TVWAN News.
Prime Minister James Marape has been invited to address the government of China in an important dialogue toward the end of this month, an offer the Prime Minister is yet to officially accept. The invitation was delivered in person by visiting Chinese Special Envoy to the Pacific, Ambassador Qian Bo, on Tuesday in Port Moresby.
Prime Minister James Marape is yet to make a decision on the invitation to attend an important dialogue toward the end of this month in China. Chinese Special Envoy to the Pacific, Ambassador Qian Bo, invited the Prime Minister on behalf of President Xi Jinping. Marape in return paid special compliments on Chinese President Jinping, with whom he had a one-on-one dialogue during his visit to Bangkok for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation meeting at the end of last year. Marape said he appreciated the invitation to engage at the leadership dialogue, as it is a high honor for PNG to be picked possibly among many other nations. He also congratulated President Jinping on his re-election for an historic third term. He said Chinese stability ensures global world economy as a stable outlook. The Prime Minister further stated that all economies depend on the stability of certain parts of the world, and China is the leader in trade and commerce in our region. He said where there is stability in leadership, the rest of the economies that depend on China can focus, plan and work better together. Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
25 agents from the Special Mining Lease 11 area of the new Pogar Mining Project recently concluded a week-long workshop on leadership and governance. The workshop was prompted by the realization that the leaders lacked basic management, leadership and good governance knowledge needed to manage their clans effectively.
Having leadership and governance skills has been deemed important by the Mineral Resources Authority that agents of the Special Mining Lease 11 should possess. MRA went on to organize a week-long workshop at the Kumu Lodge in Enga Province with PNG Institute of Banking and Business Management for 25 SML 11 agents. MRA Project Coordinator for Pogera Mine Project, Joe Ryangau, said the workshop was conducted specially to prepare the agents for the Plant Development Forum and beyond. Following the workshop, the agents are expected to manage and provide good leadership and practice good governance in the running of their individual clans, especially their businesses. The clan leaders lacked basic management, leadership and good governance knowledge to manage their clans effectively. Over the years, this has resulted in the breakdown, infighting, mistrust and disunity among clan members and their leaders. It is expected that this workshop will be a catalyst to an improved and effective way in managing clan affairs. IBBM's workshop facilitator Peterson Lice said the leadership component of the program included instilling the right values and principles by which the agents, as leaders, must conduct themselves when doing business.
The first 2 days were about leadership and influence, how they can conduct themselves, the values that they can uphold as leaders, and how they can lead their communities and lead their people. So, and also promoting the leaders' teamwork as well. The 25 agendas to actually work together as a team to lead their people.
Agents for the Angalani Diwi and the Tieni Yangwa clans, Robert Peter and Warakos Ondalane, respectively, said this was their first time in the history of their clans where they had been involved in such an important educational workshop. They said their views in running the affairs of the clans has changed for the better as a result of attending the workshop. Pogera Landowners Association Treasurer and Chairman of the Pogera Development Authority, Nixon Mangape, thanked the MRA for organizing and funding the workshop for his agents. Salome Vincent, TV1 News.
The City Pharmacy Group Limited and PNG SME Boss Crew range launched a new product of endangered plush toy animals at the CPL Harbour City branch in Port Moresby. Mariba Igara, who is the owner of the Boss Crew range company, said this initiative was a way of connecting children and families in enjoying the toy but also learning about the animals. CPL Group Limited today launched the new line of Boss Crew PNG Moro Adventures plush toys, designed by Mariba May Igara. Her creative vision has resulted in these stunning products, which CPL are excited to introduce in all CPL shops, Stop and Shop supermarkets in Port Moresby, and Proud's shop. CPL Group CEO Navin Raju was happy to make this announcement at CPL's Harbour City branch.
When Mariba first came to us, she came to us with this product and said, "Can I put it in Prouds in duty free?" I looked at the product and I actually fell in love with this guy here. Yeah, this is just so beautiful. So I said, okay, why only Prouds? Why can't we do it right across the nation, right across the country, supermarkets and in our pharmacies? So the whole project then developed from there, the CPL team with Rachel and our marketing team with Chris, we work very hard to make sure we have the right kind of packaging, the right kind of stories behind some of the iconic Papua New Guinea animals.
CPL and Boss Crew PNG's main goal with this product is to celebrate and promote the beauty and diversity of PNG's animals, as there are many cheap toys from China flooding the market that do not truly reflect PNG culture and identity. Mr. Raju said CPL plans to expand this initiative beyond PNG borders and into international market, and urges the young PNG generation and their families to support Mariba and make these products into national and international icons. In her remarks, Mariba Igara said she was very grateful to CPL Group team and Mr. Raju's leadership in making her vision possible, and hopes that this will help raise awareness and educate people on these animals' status.
I am doing this to celebrate our Papua New Guinean animals, to raise awareness of their endangered status and educate our local people on the beauty of our animals, and just to delight our friends and family of Papua New Guinea with our toys.
1 kina from each toy sold goes to the Tinkela Conservation Alliance, and they are the organization that helps to protect many of the animals designed by Mariba and her team. Twisties celebrates huge success of promotion with over 170,000 participants entering the competition, which ran from December 1st, 2022 to February 28, 2023. A presentation was done in Kimbe on Tuesday. Richard Evanet was the grand prize winner of 50,000 kina.
Richard Evanet, living in Kimbe, West New Britain Province, is the proud winner of 50,000 kina after entering the GFI Twisties promotion. The promotion ran from December 1st, 2022 to February 28, 2023. GFI's Twisties brand manager Eugene Anang said that over 170,000 people all over the country participated in the promotion, making it one of the biggest and most exciting campaigns in GFI history. During the 90-day promotion, 1,800 daily winners received merchandise from office centers around the country. But the real excitement came when the grand prize winners were announced. The winner of the second runner-up prize was from Port Moresby, and the winner of the first runner-up prize was from Morobe Province. Evernet was the grand prize winner from the New Guinea Islands. Frida Kana, TVWAN News.
You're watching TVWAN News. When we return, we'll have news from the region.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
When you're spending time with family, when you've got a big day ahead, when you have given it all you've got, when you're putting on a feast, that's when you want the best. That's when you want flame rice. New flame rice. Win him, Olgeta.
Very superstitious. Writings on the wall. When you believe in things, but you don't understand that you're superstition ain't the way.
When skin tends to lack natural oil, it is termed dry skin. Refresh and rehydrate with the Neutrogena Hydro Boost range. Here's a simple 3-step routine. 1. Hydro Boost Cleanser. It is gentle, won't clog pores, and adds moisture to the skin, unlike soap. Step 2. A moisturizer, such as this one, for replenishment. Step 3. Bright Eyes. This specially formulated eye roll-on infuses moisture around the delicate eye area. And there you go. Be beautiful, be you.
A quick favorite meal for the day does feel good. Snacks noodles is my choice for a simple meal. It is easy to prepare and fast to cook. And with a touch of flavor and ingredients, quality noodles that can be cooked and enjoyed in many different ways. You see, my whole family loves it. It's made here in PNG and comes in different pack sizes. Snacks noodles, tastier but you like it more.
Welcome back. To mark International Women's Day, the federal government is releasing a new report card to show exactly where progress on gender equality is failing.
For many Australians, like some of these statistics aren't well known, and I really wanted to, I guess, put front and centre on, as we're doing our work trying to progress gender equality, what some of the areas are that we need to focus on. And certainly areas like sexual harassment, family, domestic and sexual violence are really fundamental issues that we have to crack. We have to reduce the level of violence and harassment against women and children in this country, or we're never going to have a gender equal Australia, which is something that I think most Australians would want to see. So the scorecard's there. We're going to put it out once a year on International Women's Day to make sure that we are holding ourselves to account and trying to ensure that we are making progress each year against some of these really tricky issues. But it's also, you know, when you look at the data in a whole, you know, women earn less, they have less assets, less savings. Women over 60 earn the least of all the demographics across society, and many of those women face issues around homelessness and things like that. So it's, you know, there's a broader picture here of issues that we have to tackle that the government can do part of, but it's a broader national conversation that we're trying to ensure we have. Women earn less, have less savings, have less super and have less assets when compared to men, and so that's why we're seeing it for this group in particular, older women over the age of 55. So it requires a range of responses. It requires investment in housing and homelessness. It requires us to look at how we close the gender pay gap and deal with issues there. It also requires us to have a look at how we are supporting single women. And I had a round table with single women and some of the issues that are affecting them across the social security system, but also more broadly about them feeling like they are the forgotten group in this country, that when we have a conversation about women, we often talk about women and children. And this is an area that we've got to focus on more and support that group more.
A regional commemoration on International Women's Day hosted by the UN in Bangkok today called upon countries to reaffirm their shared commitment to leaving no one offline and accelerating efforts towards building a more secure, accessible, inclusive and equitable digital world for women and girls. Amida Salsia Alicia Bana, United Nations Under-Secretary General and Executive Secretary of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, said our digital spaces are not yet gender neutral and gender inclusive. Only 54% of women in the Asia-Pacific region use the internet, compared with 59% of men. In addition, although some women and girls own digital devices, they often live in contexts where they do not have the autonomy to use them and thus are unable to leverage digital tools to benefit themselves. Apart from insufficient digital access and skills, gender stereotypes and social norms continue to hinder the advancement of an equal digital transformation. Alicia Bana said gender sensitivity in digital education systems and the development of new technologies are fundamental to reducing the digital access gap between men and women. Northern Territory government agencies and service providers in Australia will be under a microscope as the Aboriginal Justice Unit reviews all departments for evidence of systematic racism, the NT coroner has heard.
Assistant Police Commissioner Bruce Porter earlier this week told the coroner he had issued Constable Zachary Rolfe with a notice of his intention to medically retire him after his months-long medical certificate expired. Assistant Commissioner Porter also told the inquest a 2,500-word letter penned by the officer had led to a Section 79 disciplinary notice, and Constable Rolfe had until yesterday to respond to police explaining his actions. Constable Rolfe's lawyer has rejected all allegations that the statement may have been an alleged attempt to pervert the course of justice or contempt of court. Assistant Commissioner Porter also told the inquest the NT Police Force would introduce mandatory drug and alcohol testing for officers. The NT is currently the only jurisdiction in the country that doesn't routinely drug test its officers. The coroner heard there was no suggestion the officers involved or Constable Rolfe himself were under the influence on the night that Mr Walker was shot in Yuendamu in 2019. The inquest comes almost a year since Constable Zachary Rolfe was acquitted of all charges related to the death.
Major travel disruptions at Melbourne Airport appear to have been avoided despite refuelling staff walking off the job this morning.
This is an escalation really of a year-long pay dispute between this refuelling company, Rivet, and its workers, who say they haven't seen a pay increase for 3 years. And as flights ramp back up with the downward end of the COVID pandemic, the conditions are simply unworkable. They've escalated it to a full walk-off today. 95% of Rivet's workers walking off the job at 4 a.m. for a 24-hour strike. There was big concerns that that would cause major disruption at Melbourne Airport this morning, especially for Qantas flights, which is one of the biggest clients of Rivet's refuelling services. Qantas had scrambled to put contingency plans in place, including flying extra fuel into the airport yesterday and relying on other providers of fuel at the airport. And so far it seems that has worked. No major issues with the schedule this morning. A few cancellations, but Qantas says that's not related to the strike itself, although there is still several hours to go yet. Yeah, so Qantas has really tried to distance itself from this company and the pay dispute. They say that the refuelling services aren't through a direct contract, it's through a third party and they're not involved in the dispute at all. But the Transport Workers Union says Qantas's work makes up 60% of Rivet's refuelling services at the airport, and that they have a corporate responsibility to demand better conditions for Rivet's workers, especially after posting a $1.4 billion half-year profit. Here's what the Transport Workers Union had to say this morning.
So Qantas would say it's not their responsibility because they've deliberately constructed aviation so it's not their outward responsibility. But we know that these workers haven't had a pay rise for 3 years. We know that this company is not in a financial position to support good aviation jobs, and we know who can fix that, and it's Qantas.
So there's no disruptions to schedules yet, but certainly a lot of the 24 hours left to go. Passengers urged to keep an eye on schedules before heading to the airport if they are due to travel today.
For the third year in a row, Australian farmers are breaking records. The value of all the food and fibre grown across the country is now expected to top $90 billion in this financial year. However, the favourable conditions driving the value aren't expected to last.
In full swing on this New South Wales farm as grazier Bob Love prepares his wool for market.
It's pretty fine and ends up going to the European.
This year is a good one.
Well, the shearing's going very well. They're cutting quite a lot of wool. The way things are going at the moment, I think it's going to be a good period for farming.
The number crunchers agree.
This year, the gross value of agricultural production is set to hit a record of $90 billion.
Farm incomes are also up. On average, grain growers are pulling in $665,000 a year. For dairy farmers, it's almost $400,000 a year.
A string of wet years and record prices for Australian produce has driven a boom for farmers. But that doesn't mean that the sector is without its challenges.
With drier times forecast, the sector's being warned to prepare for a haircut.
In terms of production outcomes, it's likely for the next couple of years that this is the high water mark.
That means farmers will need to attract even higher prices if the sector is to continue to grow.
We would like to see what happened a few weeks ago, which was a lot of competition, not just from China, from other countries coming into the market.
Bob Love believes the future's looking bright.
I think the next decade in farming is going to be really good.
Making the most of a golden age.
And that ends the news segment. Here is the weather report for the next 24 hours. And that ends the news segment. Jasmine Ira returns with sports news from Kokopo and Panthers, and Rabbitohs renew rivalry in round 2.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SP Lager. Bungum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
Whatever you need for your building and home improvements, we got you covered. Hardware House. We supply high-quality professional tools, plumbing and electrical supplies, homeware and outdoor products, paints, building materials and much more, all at affordable prices. And with our experienced staff, we will provide you with the right advice and help you need. So for all your building and home improvement needs, Bayuki Simware Hardware House. Quality at affordable prices.
No matter how hard I try, I always do something wrong.
Instead of thinking of your son, you'd rather get gold earrings made for your niece. Pay off your mother's loan if you really care about your uncle. Repay the favors he's done.
Pooja, they are good people, and they are willing to give you $1 million in advance.
I want you to win somebody's heart, my son.
Welcome to NRL 360 Rugby League.
Ready to rock town.
I think all the clubs are sitting out there and they're watching this with interest.
Try for Kelly, made by the young scrum half. Created by Redcliffe, finished by Reed, one for the first try.
Thanks for staying with us on TVWAN News. In sports, the AgMark-sponsored Kokopo City 9th Rugby League tournament is set to kick off this weekend at the Gold Spot Stadium, Kalabon, Kokopo. In line with the Kokopo City League calendar 2023, the tournament will run over 3 weekends from the 11th to the 25th of March and will feature both men and women's teams from Kokopo, Rabaul, Gazelle and Pomio districts.
The AgMark Kokopo City League 9's Challenge is an initiative of the newly elected City League Executive under President Nicole Kamara. The 9th tournament would be used as a launch pad to bring back life to the local league after being dormant for the past 2 years due to the pandemic. According to City League Vice President Marcus Kaugla, 10 clubs with 2 teams each have been confirmed for the men's division, while registration is still open for the women's, and 6 clubs have confirmed so far. Marcus said the men's teams are placed in 4 pools. Pool A, Foreign Brothers 2, TN Lions 1, Kinnaboard Piggies, Olympia Knights and Page Park Cowboys 1. Pool B, Pomio Storms 1, G-Nuts Chiefs, Spartans 2, Wanderers 2 and Vunamami Hammerheads. Pool C, Gaulim, Wanderers 1, Rabaul Panthers, Pomio Storms 2 and Royals. Pool D, Spartans 1, TN Lions 2, Page Park Cowboys 2, Foreign Brothers 2 and KBC. The women's teams so far have Volapia Knights, Brothers, TN Knights, Page Park Cowgirls, KBC and Storms. The winning prize for the men's division is 5,000 kina and 3,000 kina for the women's division. There are also 3rd and 4th prizes.
Grand finalists in 2021 and preliminary finalists last year, the Panthers and the Rabbitohs renewed their rivalry in a Thursday night blockbuster to open round 2. The Premiers find themselves in the unfamiliar position of having lost 2 games in a row after going down in Golden Point to St. Helens in the World Cup Challenge and by a single point again to Brisbane in round 1.
The last time Penrith lost back-to-back premiership matches was rounds 13-14 2021 when they were hit hard by Origin representation, an incredible record they will be keen to protect this week when the Bunnies come calling. Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker and Lachlan Ilias arrive at Bluebet Stadium bristling with confidence after a stylish second-half display against the Sharks, and they hold the key to the Rabbitohs starting a season 2-0 for the first time since 2019. The Panthers looked out of sorts against the Broncos as they adjust to life without Api Korisau and Viliame Kikau, but the form of new hooker Sonny Luke and winger Sunia Turuva were big positives to come out of the season opener. The showdown between chief playmakers Nathan Cleary and Ilias promises to be a beauty, while Jerome Luai and Cody Walker are 2 of the game's most explosive and unpredictable number 6s who can turn the game on its head with a piece of magic. Friday night blockbuster is the battle of the local derby, Brisbane Broncos versus North Queensland Cowboys, preceded by Parramatta Eels and Cronulla Sharks. Super Saturday kicks off with Roosters versus Warriors, followed by the Dolphins for the first time at home to host the Raiders, and Storm against the Dogs. Round 2 concludes on Sunday with the West Tigers to lock horns with the Newcastle Knights at 3 p.m. and Dragons, after a bye last week, will open their season with Titans. Terry Longworth, TV1 Sports.
In commemorating International Women's Day today, the Oceania Football Confederation held a workshop to discuss the gender equality playbook and build ideas on how to implement and move towards gender equality throughout the Oceania region.
The playbook, launched in 2022, marks the first step in OFC's Pacific Legacy program as it works to understand the context and give voice to intended beneficiaries before delivering programs and activities that address or remove barriers. A workshop held today in Auckland attracted strong representation from the Pacific region. Among them were 10 representatives from OFC's social responsibility programs. Chelsea Taylor from OFC's Social Responsibility team says promoting equality is a way forward for women football in the region.
Today's workshop is about unpacking that internally with the staff of OFC and seeing across the departments where we can start to make plays towards gender equality within the Pacific.
Globally, there have been significant developments in the opportunities for and value in women's football. OFC says development of women's sport requires intentional and strategic action that acknowledges the unique Oceania context, including specific challenges and opportunities. And the playbook provides a whole range of activities in promoting a place for gender equality. OFC wants to see women's football advance.
And channel that into what I'd like to see globally and importantly across the Pacific is women's football, or football in general, is something that's accessible and safe for women and girls to be a part of, a safe environment for them to express themselves and discover who they are on the field and off the field.
2023 is a huge year for women's football as Oceania hosts the Women's FIFA World Cup. OFC says this event will show women and girls in the region that there is more possibility and empowers them in their football career. Carol Kidder Jr., TV1 Sports.
And that ends another edition of TV1 Sports. Over to you, Carol.
Thank you, Jez. Before we go, remember to apply the following simple measures to prevent transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water, cough or sneeze into your elbow, and exercise social distancing. If you're feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance. Pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
The TV1 News was proudly brought to you by
BSB BSP, our bank, our people.